Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Stractify 500. We are full swing. We're pretty deep into our perspective drawing series, and we are well on our way with 1-point perspective. We've already covered 3-point perspective, we've covered 2-point perspective, and now we are well into 1-point perspective. And in this video, I am covering 1-point perspective grids. So we're going to learn how to do that. And I anticipate this video being possibly a little long. I don't want it to be too long. If it goes too long, I'll actually break it up into smaller parts when I edit this. But for the most part, I'm just going to go for it and really get into just how to construct 1-point perspective grids. And the reason why this is going to be long is because I'm going to show three specific examples. The first example I'm going to show is just going to be sort of like a freestyle example where I don't measure anything, and well, I'll do some measurement, but it's going to be I'm going to pretty much be eyeballing things and basically just giving you sort of like an introduction to the concept, give you an overall overview, into the concept of how to go about putting together your perspective grid. Okay, so to save on time, I've gone ahead and I've already constructed, done our little construction here for a 1-point perspective. Again, we have our little rectangle here, which is our back wall, our conceptual back wall. And then as you can see here, we have we have our vanishing point, our single vanishing point. And from that vanishing point, we have the radiating lines that help to form the ceiling, the two side walls, and the floor. And what I will do right now is I will just darken, I'll just darken the lines so that you can see the room clearly. And also so that when we do the construction, when we do some of the construction, you can see what's going on. We can differentiate some of the marks that we make to help build this up. Okay, so let me do this. There we go. And this. So again, this will be more of a freehand approach. So I won't be measuring anything. I'm not going to let that slow me down, and it's not going to be super perfect, but it will get the point across. Okay, so we have our horizontal line, we have our vertical line, and what you want to do is you want to subdivide this equally and subdivide this equally as well into little subdivisions. You can experiment. I've been thinking about experimenting for a while, and I think I have actually. And you can actually experiment and do unequal subdivisions and just come up with something kind of wonky and crazy. I think I did a sketch of it quickly at one point, and it can work. It can work. But, you know, we're going to have like a pretty symmetrical grid system that we'll be working out here. And now that I think about it, since I mentioned that, I might actually just later on, not in this particular series right now, but maybe later on, I might just throw in a grid that I just sort of just haphazardly construct, just for the fun of it. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna eyeball and subdivide this. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I didn't want that many, but that's what we got. And then what I'm going to do is Okay, again, let me remind you, whenever you have the horizon line is the HL right here, HL, and you're subdividing stuff, you're creating some construction, don't let your construction be part of something like the horizon line. So I'll probably subdivide in such a way that the subdivision will just fall in between like that. That should be fine. It's not meant to be perfect. It's as equal as I can get, but you want to do that, okay? And that'll be for your vertical subdivisions, and now we have our horizontal subdivisions. Once you get that, yeah, I said I'd be freehanding it, but in terms of laying out the lines, I'm gonna use the ruler, okay? So project from the vanishing point through those subdivisions. I'm just sort of doing it quickly. It's a little off, but I'm not trying to be perfect here. Okay, so, you know what? Let me redo that. Not trying to be perfect, but that was, you know what? Let me redo that real quick. Now I'm getting fussy when I don't want to. Just for that one line. Okay, we'll leave it. All right, and then we'll do you know what? Let me put an arrow to show which side is up, so that if any of you gets confused somewhere along the way, you can just pause and be like, hold on a second, which side is up? Oh, let me pause. Okay, there it is. All right. So from your vanishing point through those lines, or through those points, you get the lines on the right wall. Okay, so that's what you get. And as you can see, we have the HL running through there. So that's labeled, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Just pay attention and don't forget that it's there. Don't be confused by it. So the lines we'll be paying attention to will be these lines right here. Skip that, so on. And we get that right there, okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to come out here and sort of define how do I put it? You want to define not necessarily the end of the room. I mean, it can be the end, but you want to sort of divide things a little bit. Oh, that's a bad way of saying it. Let me find a better way to say it. Basically, you want to come up with this line that I'm coming up with will serve as a sort of like a controlling line to help break up the grid in a nice way. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So on one hand, you can decide that this is going to be the end of your room or the end of your space. On the other hand, I'm using it as a controlling element to help tighten the grid a little bit. Because for me, I might not be as concerned with the end of the room unless say the description of the project requires that. You know what? No, that's fine. I'm freehanding it, so I'm not going to worry too much. I'm going to eyeball the vertical and the horizontal a little bit. I'm going to trust that it's straight. Okay, so this is the space we're working with. This line serves as a controlling line to tighten up your grid, as you'll see in a minute. And once you've got that in place, from here you want to lay down your vertical line. all right, which will serve serve the same purpose. So we're going to just project that upwards. We just sort of eyeballed it there. And okay, so once you've got that in place, what you want to do is take your ruler and connect the two corners, okay? Like so. I have a neighbor, he's pretty cool. Walls are pretty thin in these offices, and you know, you can hear him having an animated phone conversation. Okay, so basically you get the center of this space. You want to do the same thing. Let me, hold on a second, let me refer to my rough drawing. Okay. So let's see. Let me erase these real quick. We do want to do this, but we want to do this on this wall, okay? And we'll see why in a minute. So let me get rid of this. Real quick. So excuse me for that, guys. But I'll leave the mistake in the video so that you guys can see it and know what to look out for. So I'm gonna leave some of that in there and clean it up as best I can and continue from there. Okay, so let's just remember those marks are to be completely erased later. All right, so basically we want to do what I did here. We want to do it on this side wall, so let's connect those corners like I was supposed to in the first place. Make sure I'm in the frame, the camera frame. So corner to corner, corner to corner, and then that'll get us our center point. And once we get that center point, strike a perpendicular line up the side of that wall. Okay, so once we've done that, we are not going to use these lines, these two lines anymore. Those two lines have served their purpose. What you do is you connect from this corner to this new corner, okay? And you know what? I'm gonna do that with a blue pen so that you guys can distinguish one from the other. You wanna do that, and then you wanna come to this new corner that's formed here and take it to the end over here, like so. Okay, and what that will do is that will give you these subdivisions. So where these blue lines intersect these vertical foreshortened lines, perspective foreshortened lines, you mark, okay, see, I almost used the HL. We don't want to use that. So let me just put an X through that to make sure I don't use it again, and also to drive the point home to you guys. So you want to mark those intersections right there. And then of course it comes to the top here. So you're going to come back down here and follow that line up, and where it intersects, you mark it. Where it intersects, you mark it. Where it intersects, you mark it. Again, that's the HL. We don't want to use that. I'll just put an X through that, just to make sure everybody knows that I pointed it out, that I acknowledged it, all the way to the top. Okay, and once you've got those in, you come with your, can this span? Yes, it can. I'll use a short ruler. And then once you come in there and basically drop a perpendicular line straight down, up and down through those intersections. And that gives you that nice, tight grid. Again, this is sort of like a freehand or freestyle version. We're not measuring anything. We're not like being super tight, super technical about this. And you'll know what I mean when I get into the next two examples. Just have to make sure I wasn't making a move. And again, this is not going to be perfect, but yeah, I like the way it's looking. So this is sort of like a quick and dirty 1-point perspective grid. And then once you've got that in place, you've got that grid in place, you can come to these points here, and let me go ahead and do that. Let me use the long ruler for that. Well, let me explain first before I do it. So you've gotten the horizontals, the foreshortened horizontal grid lines. You've got the verticals. So once they hit this corner here, you can just carry them over to complete the grid on the floor, carry them over here, carry them over here to complete the grid on this side of the wall and on the ceiling, and then the same thing. So the horizontals will be here, and then of course you have these verticals that can, what am I saying? And then you can take these and carry them up here and bring them across here using the vanishing point, and you can complete your whole grid. I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Try and do that as quickly as possible so that you guys can see how this works. And I'm gonna turn it on its side. Make sure let's see. Got that. There we go. There we go. Like so. Like so. Like so. In an updated version of this, I will probably speed up this process. As of right now, I'm just going to put it up as is. So if this is a little too tedious to watch right here, just get on the, just grab the, whatchamacallit, the playhead and drag it forward. Or hit that button that takes you 10 seconds to 20 seconds ahead. Hit it a few times. And you'll be good to go. Okay, so again, I'm just eyeballing it. So it's not going to be super perfect or anything like that. Okay, so there we go. All right, and then of course what you'll do is come here. I'm gonna use a short ruler for that. Excuse me. Allergies. There we go. There we go. There we go. pushing the line. From top to bottom is pulling the line. From bottom to top is pushing the line. You get a better quality of line when you pull the line. Okay, there you go. So we have that, and then of course we have these subdivisions here. So like so, like so. Okay, my lines are, well, like I said, I'm freehanding it, so it's not going to be as perfect as it should be. And there we have it. I am going to stop there. I think at this point you guys get the idea. All you have to do is take these subdivisions using the vanishing point through these subdivisions, project these out. Use these subdivisions, project these up, and then the subdivisions that are formed here, you project them across. They should, if you do it accurately, they should match up perfectly with these. And there's your 1-point perspective grid ready to go. Okay, so that is the first freestyle example where I just sort of haphazardly threw it together, rough and dirty. I'll set that aside, and we will go to the second example. Now, well, that's there. Let me erase that real quick, so that it doesn't show through, even though I guess I'll probably be drawing it again up here. But remember several videos back, and I think I did it with, mainly with two-point perspective, in the 2-point perspective grid, where if you want to subdivide a line and you don't know the exact measurement of that line, you want to subdivide this line, you draw a short line, and let's say we want to subdivide it into 3 or 4, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that fourth division will be the end point. And again, you project from that end point to the end of this line, and then project from all these points, but make sure whatever you project is parallel to this first line, like so. That's not parallel, didn't measure it, or I didn't do it technically, just freehanding it, but that's what you should get, and you'll get perfect equidistant subdivisions. Not this, but when we do it technically, it should be perfect. So remember that technique. That's what we're going to do here for this line, and I guess here as well. So you go ahead and set that up and do that. Set this aside so it's not peeking out. Okay, I think I'm going to go for less subdivisions. Let me put this here, like so. Now remember, this line always needs to be shorter than this line, okay? So what I'm going to do is, let me just measure maybe 3 or 4, starting from here. I'm going to use centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, just 5. That's all we keep it nice and quick. So that'll be the end point right there. Same thing here, using centimeters. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since let me make this, leave that at 5 since that's shorter, and make this 6. Go back here. Should make it 7, but 6 should be fine. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's get rid of that. Okay. And so what I will do is come to the end of that line, connect it to the end of the shorter line, and let's see. What am I doing here? Okay. So to guarantee that it is, oh boy, they're all parallel. Set my ruler up like that, set my triangle up like that, make sure it slides nicely, and then just go to each one and just project the line down very lightly. Don't want to get too many lines in there, don't want to get things confused and mixed up in any way. There we go. Okay, so there are those subdivisions. Let me clean that up a little bit. All right, and let me mark them accordingly. All right, then I'll do the exact same thing on this end. You know what, this one, I'm just going to eyeball this one real quick. I trust my fading eyes, still trust them. My aging eyes, I can still spot things being parallel. Whoops, it's weird how I marked that one. Oh well, we'll work with it. Okay, so there are our subdivisions. So once we've got that done, just like we did the last time, so I'm gonna just line it up and then draw from the point down. You know what, guys? I have a feeling I have a feeling, without jinxing myself, I have a feeling the video might not be as long as I anticipated, but we'll see. We shall see. Okay, so it's a nice wide spread right there. Let's do the same thing here for this right wall. Do that. We'll do that. Again, pay attention to the location of that HL, that horizon line. Do not get that mixed up with your other lines. In fact, let me go ahead and darken these lines. Now, like I did in one of the last videos where, I used this interior box construction or this interior room construction and then later turned it into something else. You can do that too, or you can draw a full grid, map out a full grid on one sheet of paper and then maybe tape it down onto a light box and take another sheet of paper on top of it and trace and compose whatever it is you want to draw, whatever it is you want to construct. Do it your own way, and have the grid there as a guide. Okay, so there are our lines, here's our room. So what I'm gonna do is, again, let me try and be a little more accurate here. Then I'm gonna do the exact same thing I did last time. I'm gonna start here, from here. Okay, so let me line. Line that up. There we go. Oh boy. Okay, that's fine. Let me just line it up and extend it over there. Okay, and then from here, turn this off, flip this over. Slipping around. That's not what I want to happen. There we go. All right. All right, so again, I'm not gonna make the same mistake I made last time. And you know what? Let me get my other ruler. Can it reach? It can, barely. Let me just set this aside. Corner to corner, corner to this new corner, like so. And then where is my small lines up nicely? There's the center line. Strike a vertical through that center line, and then I'll come again with the blue with the pen from this corner to the new corner formed at that center line, and from this corner, will it even reach? Barely, but it'll do. Strike that line, connect those two corners, and that gives us intersections, intersecting points, like so, all the way to the top. I come down. This is all, so this is already taken care of. Follow the line up, continue to do the same thing until you've got all of them. And you know what? That's the HL messing up. Good to spot those things on time, and it all right, and I'm gonna kind of eyeball it, keep it as straight as possible. There we go. Go. There you go. There you go. And yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, so again, just like the first one, where is it? So just like the first one, all you have to do is transfer, use your ruler, transfer the horizontal lines based onto the floor, based on the subdivisions, and basically everything will will fall into place. Okay, so basically from here, transfer the horizontal lines onto the floor. From here, use these points to transfer the vertical lines up that back wall onto the ceiling. Use the vanishing point, complete the ceiling. These will go over. They should transfer over perfectly if you did your construction correctly. And then whatever you've transferred here, they'll make points here. You bring it up and just connect everything, and boom, your grid will be done. Okay, so since I've done that twice, I think it'll allow me to speed up the final version, this final example. And I guess what I wanted to say about this is, when you're doing a grid like this, let's say, so let's, in this one, in the first one, this is the first one. In the first one, it was quick and dirty. I sort of freestyled it, you know, still sticking to some strict rules of construction and whatnot, but it was more of a freestyle version. It was kind of loose, and everything wasn't based on, say, exact measurements or anything like that. This one, I got a little more technical. I wanted to make sure my subdivisions were nice and even and equal, so I employed this technique, which I've covered before in 2-point perspective, to get that equal to, and then I apply some of the same techniques to help break it up and tighten up the grid, and then basically you complete the grid. In this one, everything else still applies, but in this one, let's say you're doing some sort of structure, some sort of interior space, some sort of architectural space, and let's say you have exact measurements, right? So I don't have an architecture scale with me right now, but let's say I'm using this ruler and I'm using the centimeters, and I'm using each of these subdivisions to represent a foot, okay? So I'm saying this ½ centimeter, or yeah, this ½ centimeter right here represents 1 foot. So 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 feet. Okay, so let's say this width is exactly 12 feet. And I measured this out previously. Okay, so let me just mark those real quick. So I'm just going to mark it and explain it. I'm not going to go through the construction because I've done it twice already. You can back up. It'll be the exact same thing that I've done already. So this is more of a conceptual thing for when you want to be exact. Okay, and this one will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 feet. So we've got a 13 feet. The ceiling is 13 feet high. The wall is 13 feet high, and then this span is 12 feet wide, right? And so you want to be exact. What I'm trying to say is that you use this as your true length, and you use this as your true height. So if you push this spot right here represents the true measurement of what you're going for. It's exact. You have an exact measurement here, such that if you push this wall back and you get something like that, everything is based off of your true height and your true length, okay? And this will be a proportional version of that. If you bring it up front, the same thing. And then what happens is then when you project your lines through these points onto the wall, what in essence you're getting, and I mentioned the word already, is a proportional perspective foreshortening is what's taking place, okay? So these come this gets projected out, and what's happening is perspective foreshortening, but it's based on these very exact measurements that you've made, and this will represent the true exact measurements, your true length, your true height. Okay, and you'll always come back to this to make those measurements, so that with this wall being 13 feet high, if somebody is going to be, if you're going to draw a person that's 5 feet or 6 feet tall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's where that person will be. Okay, so you can block it out, you can set it up, and then and like I said, we're going to get into doing people in perspective, but you can plug the person in there. That's exactly the 6 foot tall person's height. You project it out, set it up, have him occupy whatever space you want him to occupy, but everything is set up for you to do that accurately. All right, so that's what we've got. So we've got that. That's the basic example to explain that concept. This is the second example to use this mechanism to get those equal measurements, and then this was the freestyle version, as I mentioned before. So try it out yourself. Leave some comments. Let me know how it works out. If you have any questions, let me know. This is Stractify 500, and I will see you in the next video as we continue with 1-point perspective. Take care. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.